So we're live. We're back, and today we're gonna go a little bit heavier. Talk men's mental health. First, I'll cover some, what I learned from generations before me. Men have to make certain sacrifices, just like women have to make certain sacrifices. They weigh differently. Not always going to be the same. It's not always going to be evenly. But I feel like in total, men are told to sacrifice and really not to speak on the sacrifices. They're really just supposed to hold them in, deal with them, you know, never let anybody see any type of weakness. And that's just, it's a hard way to deal with things. It's a really hard way to deal with things. So, Vindo. And dealing with things like that lead to things like aggression, pointless violence, alcoholism, drug abuse. These things are big issues in men's communities, but too many people have too much pride to speak on them. And really, my whole motivation for today is Men's Mental Health Month was not but what, a month ago. How you doing, Jared? Not but a month ago. I saw posts from people that I know that mentioned it. I didn't see one commercial on TV. I didn't even see one online news article mentioning, oh, hey, it's June, it's Men's Mental Health Month. Nothing. Nothing whatsoever. It's just kind of like, hey, we gave you all this month, but we're not really going to say anything about it. And unfortunately, if it was a women's month, it would it would go crazy. You'd have so many celebrations that you would think it was Christmas every single day. But I mean, that's partially on us men. We have things that are supposed to celebrate us, and we don't make it a big deal. So nobody else makes it a big deal. Everybody else thinks, okay, it's not a big deal to them. It shouldn't be a big deal to us. And I feel like we need to change that. We need to start making sure we celebrate ourselves. We get other people to celebrate ourselves. If we're the only ones celebrating ourselves, it is kind of pointless. So, the sacrifice that men make, it should be, I wouldn't say glorified, but it shouldn't be vilified when you mention that you had to sacrifice certain things for your family and those who you love. I just don't understand the issues with some people just feeling like men should just play our role. And I mean, that leads me to the silence. You hear so little about what men are going through until something drastic happens. We ourselves need to speak up. And if somebody decides that they don't like what we're saying or they have an issue with the way that we speak up for ourselves, oh well, because if we don't do it, apparently nobody will. There's men suffering in silence right now. They wake up, go to work, do what they got to do. They come home, they do what everybody else needs, and they go to sleep and they go back to work, and that's just their daily cycle. They feel unseen, they feel unheard, they don't feel anybody really cares what they want, they don't feel anybody cares what they need. I'm not going to be one of those guys. No way in the world will I be one of those guys. I've gone through too much already in life to just sit there, let somebody mess me over, and I'm just gonna watch and you know be silent because I'm supposed to be a guy. I'm supposed to be able to take it. Oh, aren't you man enough to deal with this? To hell with that. I'm man enough to stand up for me, mine, and whoever that I feel that I need to. And I mean, that's purely all that matters. Who I'm willing to stand up for me and mine, that's everything to me. I mean, I don't like to intimidate women or anything like that. But I mean, if it gets out of hand, hey, Tiger's got to do what the Tiger's got to do. I would say a lion, but I mean, let's be honest, the male line is lazy, and eventually some younger line comes and gets them up out of there anyway. So that's just not going to be me. It's not my style. Now we got the happy wife, happy life. I know it's a popular saying, and I've told my wife what I don't agree about that, because a happy wife, happy life means just like before, suffering in silence, making all the sacrifices, and at the end of the day, your big ribbon is she's happy, so I should be happy. You have to make yourself happy. If you're not happy, you can't really make somebody else happy. That's asinine. That's insane. That's just not going to work out. I mean, your spouse can be happy, and I like to keep my wife happy. I'd like to keep her very happy, but I'm not going to completely. I'll make some sacrifices. I'm not going to completely sacrifice myself, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna become sour. I'm going to become a person I don't want to be, and that's going to sooner than later lead to divorce because I'm going to become resentful. If I can make you happy and make me happy, that works. But if you're the only happy person in this house, that house is going to fall. The foundation is the two of you. And if you have to be a strong foundation for you two and then for your kids, it's not going to work out if half of it is made out of wood. Shout out to Rodney. And half of it is made out of concrete. Because you put the equal amount of weight, one's going to crack sooner than later. And that's just how life is going to be. So yeah, you can have a happy wife, but you also have to have a happy life. That saying should not mean that if your wife is happy, then that's the only way you can be happy. The two of you should be equally happy, or at least somewhat equally happy for anything to work. I'm sorry, but that contributes to one of the biggest things that breaks people up. Somebody gets everything, the other person feels they don't get anything, and they just both resent each other. Now the funniest part, Father's Day. Father's Day is a great non-holiday, practically. I mean, outside of sitting around the house, I mean, what do people really do for Father's Day? Sometimes you'll get dinner cooked or you'll get taken to a restaurant. I mean, I've seen guys post on Father's Day that they're with their kids. Their baby mother let them have their kids on Father's Day. That was her gift to him. He was allowed to see his kids. That's the insanity. I was watching what was it, Raphael Sadiq, the comedian? I forgot. I might have messed up his first name. Ali Sadiq, that is his name. I watched his special, and he made a great point. Father's Day is the 27th ranked holiday in the world. There's holidays that I didn't even know existed that get more attention than Father's Day. That is asinine. Besides what, Christmas, Easter, hell, I don't even think the 4th of July gets as much shine as Mother's Day does. I mean, Mother's Day is everything, and Father's Day is a day they put on the calendar. I mean, to me, it's nothing more than that. It's a day they put on the calendar, and they were like, okay, cool. Here's what you get after Mother's Day comes. So we throw the parade, we bring out, all the best of everything. You're either going to the best restaurant, you're getting professional cooks to come to your house to cook for Mother's Day, or you're cooking absolutely any and everything that, the woman of your life wants, could think of. There's gifts, there's everything, and Father's Day is just, I say it's probably a third. It's probably a third of what goes into it. And I don't say every father has that disappointing Father's Day, but for the majority, most fathers just feel like it's a day. It's a day that they said, hey, we appreciate you. But then there's other single mothers who go, oh, I'm the mom and the dad. So you can't even get Father's Day to yourself. because then you have women who say, "Oh, I'm both parents too." I don't see many, if at all, I haven't seen any men who are the single parent who on Mother's Day put a post saying, "Oh yeah, I'm the mother and the father," because guess what? You're getting ridiculed and ran out of town. You're definitely going viral for the absolute wrong reason at that point. And that's the crazy part. There's this men's women thing. It's not a 50-50. It's not a 60-40. At this point, it's almost a 70-30. If we don't stand up for something, which at this point we don't because we don't want to get ridiculed and look bad, we pretty much stand for nothing. The best thing in the world. Hey, I feel you, Hendo. That's all you can do. Because if you do anything more, somebody's going to say you're clout chasing or you're shaming a child or something like that. It's always going to be something that is against us. But I mean, I guess we aren't nitpicky enough to call all these things out because we're just happy being the best people we can be. Quite honestly, that's vitamin water. So no alcohol. Child support. Child support can be crushing for a man, and I mean absolutely crushing. Uh, some women use it as a weapon, and some men don't keep up with their child support, and they have to end up in jail. And yeah, child support should be a thing that is used properly, but it's so many cases of women misusing child support or using it as hell, damn near a deadly weapon, and there's no recourse. I had a friend, he was paying his child support, all well and good. He got his three children back because apparently he proved that she was an unfit mother. He got his kids back and paid child support for almost a year. When he finally got it shut off, he asked if he could receive the money back that he had paid while he was taking care of his exactly Hendo. If he could get the money back that he had paid to his baby's mom while he had his kids, and they told him no, there's nothing that they could do for him. He should have gotten it cut off earlier, but unfortunately, when he went to go get it cut off, he then had to go to court, which got postponed a couple times before he actually. Right, it got postponed a couple times before they actually revoked the child support. So she was just at home collecting money while he had the kids, and he was paying her like she had the kids. And it's insane. I mean, you have the guy. I believe he's local to DC. He's either DC or Maryland. A woman in a hospital looked up a name, chose this guy's name, wrote it on a birth certificate. Next thing he knows, they're trying to send him to jail, and he doesn't understand why. Well, because the name was written on a birth certificate, that automatically made him liable for that child. Oh, you got to take it to court personally. Okay. Well, they told my man there was nothing he could do. This is about 15 years ago, so it's too late for him now. I'm pretty sure there's no way he can get it back. So they took him to jail, even though he proved that the child was not his. As long as your name is on that birth certificate, hey, you automatically assume responsibility. If you're in there and she writes your name or you write your name, that's considered basically a legally binding contract. You've taken responsibility for a child you've never even seen. This man fought for I think 3 or 4 years before he finally was able to get his name off the birth certificate. And I mean, she all but admitted that she didn't really know who he was. That's how they found out that she just picked a name. She picked a name and wrote it. And when uh, I thought that too. I thought that too. She never met this man. She never knew this man. She never seen this man. She picked his name pretty much, I don't know if it was off Facebook or out of a hat or out of the yellow pages. She picked his name and signed his name to it, and they were after him for years. They sent him to jail once or twice for not paying before he finally got his name removed and got himself off of child support. I don't know what all he went through, but yeah, she picked his name out of a hat, and he never seen her. He never met her. He never even talked to her. Never called her. Never texted. I mean, I always thought that you had to be there to sign it because I was always told by my mother, you don't sign that until you have proof that that child is biologically yours. Because if you sign it and you find out later that it's not biologically yours, you have taken responsibility already, and the state is not going to let you take it back. They're going to stick you with it. I mean, in most states in the U.S., if you're married to a woman and she has a child, the man who she cheated with is not responsible for your child. You're responsible for the child because you're married to her. Period. And it's in at least 25 states. So, yeah, I'm very careful about whom and what and where and how and why because Kanye said it 18 years. If that child goes to college for 8 more or 12 more, as long as they're in a consecutive college, you're paying for it. And we're going to get to being always wrong. I'm not wrong even when I'm wrong. Okay, that's a lie. But I do always say I'm always right unless I'm wrong. Yeah, the whole you're married, so you're always wrong. Nope, I'm not rocking for that. That's along that happy wife, happy life lines. Because I'm gonna be right, and it doesn't give me nothing. Then obviously there's no common respect. I can't be telling you something that is correct and you disregard it because you only care about what you say, how you feel. At that point, this ain't even a relationship. It's not even an argument. It ain't a discussion. It's just ignorance, pure bliss and ignorance. That's all. I feel like I'm be wrong sometimes. I'm be right most of the time. I know the other side always feels like, hey, I'm right most or all the time. It's got to be a compromise. If not, cool. Sometimes it's not worth the battle, but too often men just give up the battle and say, hey, I'll deal with it later, or I'll let her have this one and, tell her what she wants and then he'll do what he wants later. Still going to cause a problem. You're not always wrong. You're not always right. When you're right, you got to decide if it's worth the battle. When you're wrong, hey, just let it go. I'm wrong. I kind of just, all right, and not shut up because I could poker face it and win anyways, but some people know when they're arguing with me, if I know I'm right, I'm not giving up. So there's a reason I'm still arguing. If after 5 minutes I go, oh, you know what? You're right. Now that I remember, you're right. I just let it go. I mean, if you're gonna clown me, you're gonna clown me. But I'm gonna argue when it's right. Men's power. Boy, you say this word, you might get shot at. What's up, Rich? You say this word, you might get shot at. But I mean, quite personally, most laws are against us. Most situations, you're going to lose out just simply because of your gender. I mean, there's many laws on the books that are mainly for, women's rights and what women want. And unfortunately, that's because the guys who want to be elected know, hey, if you get the women in the household to vote for you, most likely, yeah, I got to do a man like that, Hendo. But if you get the women in the house to vote for you, most likely the men are going to vote for you too. So, quite honestly, as long as you can appeal to the women, whether it's writing certain laws or you know making sure to vote certain ways for women's rights, you're good. Undisputed remix, really? Who's on undisputed remix? You're basically just gonna keep electing a guy who's gonna appeal to your wife, so he's gonna write all these laws. I mean, there's so many laws on the books that I mean, in Maryland, if the cops are called to a house, they will make the man leave and have to get a hotel for the night, whether he's wrong or indifferent. They can kick the man out of the house for the night, make him have to go get a hotel, and she can stay home. And if you come back before six or 7 a.m., they're going to take you to jail. That's insanity. I paid as much for this house as she did. Sometimes you could own the house, but if she is a resident of the house and she can prove that her mail is sent there and everything else, yeah, you're hitting the road. Unfortunately, you're hitting the road. Find a hotel. Find your buddy's couch to lay on. I mean, that's just a small example, but there are many laws that no matter what a man does, he's not getting that equal right. It's just a dead issue. You might as well give up. I mean, there was the actor who was basically dating an actress, and she beat the brakes off of him, and he called the cops to get her out because she was hitting him with stuff upside the head, throwing stuff at him. The cops showed up and laughed at him, and the worst part was then the news reported it. So not only did he get shamed for instead of hitting this woman, calling the police, they're supposed to come do their job. They laugh at him, and then the incident gets sent to a publication. So now the whole world's laughing at him. I mean, hey, just like these other rights that especially in the black community that we need overturned, updated laws. Hey, these are some of the things we have to consider. I mean, one of the most important things for a man, at least, as far as I know, is having empathy. Being empathic, understanding how others feel. Sometimes, yeah, we are hard exterior until you get to the interior. I understand all that. But I mean, when my wife or my sister or my mother's going through things, I feel it with them. And that's something that's very important to be emotionally aware, emotionally mature, understand your situation, surroundings. I guess as they say these days, reading the room. It's important because sometimes, I mean, quite honestly, it can be 5, 6 women in a room, and the male influence can sway how things are, how things feel, how others feel about themselves. It happens here and there. Hey, Jose, how you doing? It happens here and there, and that's one thing. My grandfather, I learned from my grandfather. He didn't talk much, but he always displayed the right actions. If somebody's going through something, his normal stone straight face demeanor was he'd soften up. His normal demeanor, he wasn't angry, but he just had a normal demeanor that people would walk in the house and be kind of worried that if he was upset or not, but it was just his normal face. But he would soften up for kids and you know certain women and whatnot to make sure that people felt okay and welcome when he knew that that's what was necessary. And it it definitely helped me a lot in this life. I mean, the role of us men, we're supposed to be, we're supposed to be the protectors, the breadwinners, the iconic figure in the household. And these days, being the breadwinner is pretty hard. I mean, the way things are, you can't just have one income in most households. It's not going to work. it's too expensive these days. Inflation's going absolutely crazy, like Lamar Jackson's numbers this year. Just saying. And honestly, it's a two-man team now. You know you have to. I mean, I know how to cook, so in my house, whoever gets home first usually cooks. That's just what we do. You know, certain roles and I guess you would say responsibilities as they put them, they're kind of flex, you know. They're kind of okay, you could do this, I could do this, and they flex from day to day. Some days I'm cleaning up, some days she's cleaning up, some days I'm cooking, some days she's cooking. You know, eventually we have kids. Some days I'm not getting no van, not getting no van. I'm gonna have to be driving the truck to soccer practice or cheerleader practice or whatnot, what have you. By the time my kids grow up, it's going to be some type of virtual network bank where they're writing code or, you know, racing virtual helicopters or something or of the sort, you know, crazy stuff that they're doing now. But I mean, those roles, they have to flex. You have to be flexible with them. Like my mom always said, hey, if you don't know how to cook, she's going to tell you if you eating or not because you can't eat out every day. I feel like the roles are a lot different than they were even 10 years ago. There's no way to have a set designated role and no flexibility at all. That's just not going to happen. I mean, here for our final thing. You got some questions? Put them in the chat box. But what can change? Everything can change. Everything can change for anything. But we need to change for the better. We need to, as men, we need to do better with ourselves and making sure that we're getting what we need out of life. And we also need to do a better job of making sure that people understand what we need out of life. We can't just say, hey, we need y'all to do better, and we don't offer a solution. We don't tell them how we're going to do better. We don't tell them what we need to do better. And, you know, we do need help from the outside. You know, women are great nurturers, but I feel like these days it's a battle in the household. People are married and you got the woman battling the man because of all this social media crap and hey, your man should be doing this and hey, your woman should be doing that. We need teamwork make the dream work. Just like we need to express what will be better, what will make it better. We need to help people understand what will make it better. We need understanding as well. So we get a little help from the ladies, understanding our new issues and new things we go through. Speaking of the woman of the house right there. Hey, girl. Yeah, that's pretty much what I had to go through. Just what I feel needs to change, what needs to be updated, things we need to think about. Sooner than later, be it'll be a whole new generation. We got to leave it better for everybody. Reg, now when you got the sunglasses on and you got that cross and the black shirt, that's the preacher preaching. That is the preacher preaching. And I'm in the verses of Pastor Cavassier, so I can't be preaching right now. It's like, no, it's just vitamin water. But I got it in my chalice, just so y'all know. But yeah, that was everything I had today. You know, got some comments, leave them in the comments. And hopefully I'll see you guys on Saturday. Peace.